Well, I hope you have the NBC Sports Network now or Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV because the Cup is in the building. Phil Pritchard's job is keeper of the Cup, and he joins us now. We gave the Cup its own seat. The Stanley Cup is in the building. Let me talk about Cup etiquette because we want to know if we could drink beer out of it or if we could have maybe some wings, some buffalo wings in there. What is the etiquette here, Phil? Wait, you're laughing. Why are you laughing?
Well, you
Phil?
know what? I mean, everyone that puts on skates, picks up a hockey stick, wants to play hockey, play in the National Hockey League, the best league in the world, and hoist that cup.
Yeah.
Only a few actually get that, and only a few of them actually win the cup. So all of those etiquettes are reserved to those guys that's names are on it. And until our names are on it, unfortunately, Dan, we're not going to be eating chicken wings out of it or drinking beer. I think we might be going to the local bar and doing that.
Okay. All right. It's fair enough.
But what is great about it, the tradition of it and everything, is once your name's on it, you're part of that elite group. You're tied in with those guys that have won it before, and you have that opportunity, you have that ability, and you have that pleasure of drinking out of it if you wish and sharing it with your family and
have
friends.
you had a sip out of that cup?
I wish I would have won it. Actually, I did have a sip of it in Russia. The first time it went to Russia, it was a funny story. It was back in 1997. The Red Wings won the cup. 5 Red Wings were Russians. They took it back to Moscow, and they had a celebration in town. The government was there. It was in Red Square. It was really emotional for the guys. Igor Larionov, Fedosov, the guys that made the trend from Russia to here. And they were drinking out of it. And they said, Phil, you got to drink out of it. I said, Igor, I'm never drinking out of it. I didn't win it. I can't even skate barely. And he said, you're part of history here. You have to. I said, Igor, I'm not. He goes, you're not going home then. I said, Igor, come on, that's not fair. So I had a sip out of it. I mean, Russian vodka, for those that have had it, is pretty unbelievable as it is out of the cup. I'm sure it's even extra special. But, I mean, did I deserve that? No.
Well, Messier gave me a sip out of it when the Rangers won the cup.
Yeah, and that's what's great about it. You're at a party of the guy, and the guy hands it over and gets you to drink out of it. You're part of that elite team. You're part of his team, I guess.
You did help me with, I think, our greatest stat of the day is 14 beers fit in the top of the cup. Now, if we pour 14 beers in there, or if I put in 14 bottles or cans?
Oh, no, it's the liquid.
Oh, so if I dump 14 in there.
Yeah. And if you ask any of the guys when they pour it out, it comes out like Niagara Falls when they're taking that sip.
Have you lost it before?
Have I? No, I have my fingers crossed under the table here, too. Hopefully it never happens. I mean, we've been on airplanes and connections, and as everyone knows in the flying world, luggage gets misplaced sometimes. We have missed flights. Thankfully, everybody's a hockey fan out there. We've got it back, and it's right here. It's got a great seat. The seats, I think, is better than the one I have, actually.
What about the players? Has somebody misplaced the cup?
No. You know what? I mean, it's amazing when the guys take it home because they know the extended team is their mom and dad, their lost ones, their loved ones, their family, their friends, their buddies they won, they grew up with. So when they take it home, that respect goes up another level. They have all these plans for it. They do parties, but they do a lot of great things. They go back to their arenas, the hospitals, their schools, and their day is jam-packed. And we have a whole entourage of people with us, so there's never any room for loss in that time. Everything's down-packed. The guys' families are so tight in everything that's going on. It's a special day, and we're really fortunate to be part of that day with it, and it'd be great.
But are you with the cup wherever it goes with these players?
All the time.
In the off-season?
Yeah, so what's amazing is
But let me run this down here, Phil. California, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Texas, Utah, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Those were the cups that when the Kings won it last year. 6 different Canadian provinces: Manitoba, Quebec, Alberta, British Columbia, Ontario, Saskatchewan. 4 different countries: the United States, Canada, Russia, and Slovenia. Yeah. You went to every one of those places.
I did, yeah. And we actually, in Russia, we had to go to Siberia as well. So, I mean, it's different.
People don't come back from Siberia, by the way.
We did, and so did Stanley. But, yeah, I mean, you just listed off there. Hockey's played in 75 countries around the world now. They all want to play in the greatest league in the world. They all want to win the greatest trophy in sports. For that opportunity that the league and the Hall of Fame does to let them take it home, it's unbelievable. And to be part of that and to see the people's reactions, it's pretty special.
Team that had the most fun with the cup. If you don't want to go into details, you don't have to, but it'd certainly be nice for my show.
You know what? I mean, obviously every team is different. I remember when the Rangers won in '94. It was, I mean, that chant went on, and they finally won it in Game 7 against the Canucks. The city went nuts, but every city goes amazing. Dallas Stars in '99. Those guys were great guys. They were a young team. They were in southern Texas. I mean, it's different in everywhere you go. The Kings last year in Hollywood, I mean, it was unique. I mean, who would have ever thought 25 years ago that the LA Kings would have brought hockey with Anaheim, who's won it as well, in Southern California, and hockey's as popular as it is. I mean, it's growing everywhere, and every year is special.
He's Phil Pritchard, the keeper of the Stanley Cup, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. The reaction that you get from players or coaches who haven't won the cup when the cup is in the building, in the room, is what?
It's, I don't know what, it's emotional, first of all. That's probably the best word. It's powerful. I think of some examples. I mean, I know Pierre Lacroix from the Avalanche. Every time he sees me, he says, I'm either going to be happy today or I'm not going to be happy. And, you know, it's nothing personal. We're there with a cup, but they're on a mission.
But you saw Barry Melrose at the mothership recently.
Yes.
What was his reaction?
His reaction is he never won it as a player. He never won it as a coach. He came close in L.A. in '93. But it was in the same room of his, and he was very uncomfortable. He didn't want to get any closer to it. Eventually, he left the room, and he said, I didn't win it. I didn't deserve to be that close to it. And I think that's what's amazing about it is the guys that play understand that they're part of the group if they win, but if they're not, they're still on the outside.
Everybody who's ever won the cup on a team, his name is on the cup?
No, unfortunately not anymore. You know what? It's 120 years old now.
Yeah.
So it's altered over the years. It started off as just that bowl there.
Yeah, the top
and
one.
it has grown and grown and grown. And now what happens? It's 3 feet high and 35 pounds, but it's almost full. And when it gets filled, we're going to remove that top ring, and that's going to go in the Hockey Hall of Fame. We're going to slide these up and add another ring to the bottom. So when you win, you're on for 65 years, which arguably might be your lifetime.
Yeah.
So
but you'll keep the same dimensions.
Yes, so it'll have that look to it all the time.
And it weighs 35 pounds?
35 pounds. And you talk to a player that hoists it over his head after he's won, he says it weighs nothing. The next time he lifts it, he goes, holy smokes.
But it's made of
heavy?
silver, though.
It is.
So it's pliable a little bit, isn't it? I mean,
it is. I mean, silver's a soft metal. So, I mean, you look at it, and I guess when you look at yourself and myself, when we're 120, we might have some dents and dings in it as well, and just like the cup does. But each story has a...
Well, what's the one mark on there that is there one that stands out when you tell the story? Is there a ding on there, a dent in there?
Yeah, is there a ding? There's a dent. There's a bunch of them. I mean, each one will have a story. My guess would, if this could talk, it'd be able to tell you every one of them. Unfortunately, I have to do the talking.
Have they dropped it on the ice before?
You know what? Never in a celebration has it been dropped on the ice. I mean, if you remember a couple years ago in the Bruins ones, Zdeno Chara took a step backwards, and he almost lost his balance. His hat went flying off, but at 6'9" and then on skates, I mean, it was way up there. And he lost his balance, but he held on to it. And I mean, and he was the one that told us that. He goes, "That was close. I didn't know the weight of it because they don't know.
Yeah.
They just grab it.
They haven't held it.
Never held it.
Yeah.
And he hoisted it up, and all of a sudden, his center of gravity was different. But they're athletes, and they held on. And I mean, the celebration began in Boston then.
Could I have during the commercial break? Could I have it, above my head as I walk down the street here?
We got to find Dan Patrick on here.
Well,
there's
like a Craig Patrick on there.
Close enough.
Yeah, they call me Daniel Craig Patrick. So, am I allowed to hold the
now,
cup?
You know what? You can hoist it when you win it. So hopefully I'll see.
Oh, come on, Phil.
But isn't that special though?
I'll never win it. But I didn't want to win it. I just want to drink out of it. I want to have wings out of it, Phil. There's a difference here. So when it's in the room, I gravitate towards it. It doesn't scare me.
We got to get you some of those Stanley Cup cupcakes or something. Then so you can.
I just had the cupcakes.
Okay, well
I had the cupcake. That's a sore subject around here. A sore subject around here. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Phil Pritchard. He's the keeper of the Stanley Cup. Apparently, I am not allowed to hoist the cup. Are you sure about that? Because I could get Fritzy in here. Do you think you could take Fritzy?
He's the Ranger guy back there?
Yeah, you think you could take him? What if I just said, why don't you manhandle Phil while I take the cup and run around?
Look at the size of him. He had a few cupcakes today.
Wow. Fritzy, as a shot.